Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have exclusive news that you can't miss. So get ready because there's a lot of important information coming. Before we start, we'd like to take the opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and stay up to date with all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which really strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Bobby Wagner ranked as Washington Commanders' top free agent move. Linebacker Bobby Wagner was a key part of the Washington Commanders' defense this season. However, with his contract expiring, the big question now is, will Wagner return for 2025? The Commanders took an aggressive approach to free agent acquisition last offseason, with general manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn molding the roster to their vision. Many of those signings were short-term contracts, including Wagner's one-year deal. Now, with the season over, Washington faces a pivotal period, with 37 players signed to one-year contracts and set to test the free agency market, according to Spotrac.com. With the defense showing improvement under Joe Witt Jr., one of the biggest questions is which players should be retained to keep the unit moving forward. For ESPN, Bobby Wagner is a key player, not only for his performance on the field, but also for the impact he has in the locker room. Wagner signed a one-year deal with Washington last offseason, and there were questions about how much he could contribute in his 13th season, ESPN wrote. As it turns out, he still had plenty to offer. Wagner recorded his 13th consecutive season with more than 100 tackles and was named to the second All-Pro team for the 11th time in his career. In addition, his leadership was essential in setting a high standard within the team, making his eventual replacement a difficult task for the Commanders. Indeed, Wagner had a breakout season, leading the Commanders in total tackles, 132, ranking third on the team in tackles for loss, 10, and fifth in quarterback pressures, 8, in addition to recording 3 sacks. His impact wasn't limited to statistics. He also helped transform the team's defensive mindset. To further reinforce his value, Pro Football Focus, PFF, ranked Wagner as the third best linebacker in the NFL this season, with an impressive 89.9 grade, also highlighting his 26 total pressures on opposing quarterbacks. His contract last season was for 1 year, valued at $6.5 million. Considering his consistent performance and positive impact on defense, it is possible that Washington will opt for a similar extension. Keeping Wagner on the roster could be a strategic move to ensure continuity in the team's defensive evolution and consolidate the work started this season. With free agency approaching, the Commanders have an important decision to make. Retaining Bobby Wagner would not only secure a key piece for the defense, but it would also reinforce the culture of leadership and discipline that the franchise seeks to establish for the coming years. Commanders urged to sign $58 million projected cornerback. The Washington Commanders made a big move at the NFL trade deadline to acquire 4-time Pro Bowl cornerback Marshawn Lattimore from the New Orleans Saints. Even after the Commanders' impressive run to the NFC Championship game, their first appearance there since 1991, it's clear they gave up too much for Lattimore and didn't get enough in return. Spending their 2025 third, 4th, and 6th round picks for Lattimore and a 2025 5th round pick was a steep price to pay for a player who hasn't proven to be the difference maker they needed. You could argue the Commanders could still make it to the NFC title game without him, with Lattimore likely to be a cap casualty in 2025, which would add $18 million to the Commanders' bottom line. It's time to turn to free agency to try to find the elite cornerback they thought they were getting in the trade. With nearly $100 million in cap space, it's not unreasonable to think that a few free agents could be on the Commanders' table, including New York Jets cornerback DJ Reed. Reed, who is about to enter his 8th season, is one of the most high-profile free agents of the 2025 cycle. While Reed has largely been overshadowed by Sauce Gardner, he has been a high-level starter for the Jets since arriving in 2022, Bleacher Report's Christopher Knox wrote on January 30th. Keeping Reed would make a lot of sense for the Jets, though the cornerback seems more interested in testing the open market. Reed in line for biggest payday of his career. Reed entered the NFL as a 5th-round pick, number 142 overall, by the San Francisco 49ers in the 2018 NFL Draft after being a 2-time All-Big 12 selection at Kansas State. Reed played 2 seasons with the 49ers before becoming a full-time starter with the Seattle Seahawks in 2020 and signing a 3-year, $33 million free agent contract with the Jets in March 2022. While Reed has played in Gardner's shadow during his time in New York, he has also become one of the NFL's elite cornerbacks. PFF has him graded at 70.7 heading into the 2024 season. He has allowed just an 87.1 passer rating and has averaged approximately 73 tackles and 10 pass defenses over his last 3 seasons with the Jets. Spotrac projects Reed's free agency market value to be in the range of a 4-year, $58.6 million contract, which would pay him $14.7 million per season. The Commanders should be careful about signing Reed to a contract that long. He turns 29 in November and could instead start with a 3-year, $45 million contract offer or a 2-year, $32 million deal that is nearly fully guaranteed. Recruiting mistakes led to big future for Commanders. One reason the Commanders have so much money under the salary cap is because of their utter failure to draft players in recent years, which means there are no players waiting in line to get huge contracts. After 2023 first-round pick Emmanuel Forbes was waived midway through the 2024 season, all of the Commanders' first-round picks from 2020 through 2023 are no longer on the roster. That means they have a window of 2 more seasons before they have to pay rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels, who already appears on track to receive the largest contract in NFL history in March 2027. Commanders enter the race for T Higgins. Bengals' situation could favor Washington. The Washington Commanders are preparing for a crucial offseason, with great opportunities to strengthen their roster and establish themselves as a serious title contender. After a promising campaign, led by rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels to the NFC Championship, the franchise is looking to make the most of the competitive window while their young quarterback is still on his rookie contract. With significant salary cap space, the Commanders have the chance to invest heavily to strengthen the team around Daniels. This approach could be decisive in transforming the team into a real Super Bowl contender next season. One of the most coveted targets on the free agent market is Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T Higgins, and Washington is already emerging as a strong contender for his signing. CBS Sports analyst Jordan Dajani highlighted the possibility of the Commanders signing Higgins, noting that the team needs more offensive options to support Jayden Daniels. The Commanders have a lot of work to do on the defensive side of the ball this offseason, but they also can't ignore the need to bolster their receiving core, Dajani wrote. Daniels needs an impact piece in addition to Terry McLaurin, and T Higgins is arguably the best free agent available in this class. The 26-year-old wide receiver threw for 10 touchdowns last season, tying his career high despite playing in just 12 games. Spotrac.com estimates that Higgins could be offered a contract in the $25.4 million per year range, which could result in a 5-year deal worth more than $125 million. For the Commanders, that investment would represent a significant boost to their offense and give Daniels a reliable target alongside McLaurin. A potential Higgins exit from Cincinnati is made all the more plausible by the Bengals' financial situation. The team has to deal with significant renewals, including the contracts of wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase and pass rusher Trey Hendrickson, which could significantly compromise its salary cap space. Bengals general manager Duke Tobin himself acknowledged the difficulties in keeping Higgins on the roster. "It's going to be tough," Tobin admitted. "We have the resources to try, but it all depends on how the negotiations unfold and whether Higgins is willing to accept a contract within a value that makes sense for both parties. I've always been very clear about the desire to keep T Higgins on the team, but we know that decision may not be entirely in our hands." In this scenario, the Commanders emerge as one of the main teams interested in the receiver, who could elevate the level of the franchise's offense and help consolidate the new era led by Jayden Daniels. With the offseason approaching, the dispute for Higgins promises to be one of the big topics in the NFL market.